Hey guys, this week on Pagan Perspective we were asked a question about divinity, spirits, angels, demons, fairies, spirit guides, gods and goddess. Who do we work for on the spiritual plane, basically? And this is a subject that I could ramble about pretty much non-stop, but I'll try to make it quick and not just talk constantly. But I just could go on and on. How I actually worship a Greek god named Eros, and much like Twisted Witch, actually. And I worship a Greek goddess named Nyx. And there are so many different legends about these two beings in the Greek tradition that it's really kind of hard to decide which one you want to go with. But in my personal opinion, I feel that these myths and legends aren't to be taken exactly literally, but more as like a metaphor, or like a parable, kind of like the way Jesus would tell stories about different things. I didn't think he meant for them to be taken literally. He was getting it to make a point, and I feel like that's what a lot of these creation myths and stories and legends about the Greek gods and goddesses and blah 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 are meant to be like. So I guess I'll start off with how I came across worshiping these two wonderful beings. I was actually kind of trying to decide what I wanted my god and goddess to be on my own, and I found out the long way that that's not how it works. You pretty much just have to wait for them to come to you, and you could call them and, well, not on a phone, but you could pray to the universe and ask for your god and goddess to be delivered to you if you felt that you needed it. But I personally didn't. I just kind of looked around online at common Wiccan god and goddesses and common god and goddesses that Wiccans worshipped and blah blah blah, and I picked ones that I found were interesting. And so for a good while I was worshipping Pan and Isis, because I really liked Pan forever, and I've always been really into Egyptian mythology. Oddly enough, I was never too terribly interested into the Greek mythology as much as I was the Egyptian mythology until I started worshiping these two beings. And how that actually happened was I was worshiping Pan and Isis the best that I could, and I felt connected to them, and I felt a connection with them, but it wasn't really that intensive one. It was kind of like whenever you meet someone and you're like, that person's cool, I want to be their friend, and you try really hard to be their friend, as opposed to whenever you just randomly meet someone and you two instantly click, like you've always been best friends. That's the best way I can just kind of describe it. But it was working for me, and that's what I was going with for a while. And one night I was in deep meditation, and I heard the name Eros, and I actually saw the letters spelled out in my mind. And I had never, ever heard that before, ever. And so sometimes in my meditations I will hear phrases or words or things that I'm not even sure if they're real, so I'll go look them up online, and then they will confirm to me, yeah, they're real. And that always blows my mind, but it's also really cool as well. So that's what happened with Eros. I heard and saw his name in my head, then I went and Googled him, and it was a real thing, so I was kind of blown away by that. And the thing that I was more blown away by was that Eros was Cupid, pretty much. Roman mythology, he's Cupid. In Greek mythology, he's Eros. And I've always felt like I was connected to Cupid. The wonders of being in a basement. I'm a loser, baby, so why don't you kill me? So anyway, in my research that I was doing on Eros, I came across the name Nyx, and for some reason that also just clicked in my head, and I clicked on her name. I learned about her as well, and I started researching the both of them. This led me to find many interesting things about the two of them. Eros, in several legends, is doing several different things, as well as Nyx, and that goes back to me saying I think they're just parable type things. But anyway, one of my favorite legends about Eros, and I won't say all these legends because I'll be rambling if I do, but I'll just say some of my favorite ones and what connects the two of them. But one of my favorite legends about Eros is, in some legends he is stated to be the oldest god besides chaos. In Greek mythology, originally there was chaos. There was a black void named Chaos, and she was darkness, and from her sprouted creation. And in one legend, chaos was originally created, and then suddenly it says there was love, and that love was Eros. And Eros was the spark that helped create the universe. Out of chaos came love, and out of love came the population of the gods. Gaia was created shortly after that, and several other ones, depending on how many legends you read. But Eros was apparently supposed to be responsible for making the gods fall in love with each other and procreate gods and create the world and all this other stuff. He was also credited kind of with sparking their emotions and getting them interested in creating the universe and blah blah blah. So I think that's a really interesting one. Something that I really learned about Nyx that I thought was really intriguing was Zeus actually fears her because she has given birth to so many powerful gods and goddesses, and she is the goddess of the night, and from her so many different things have come. In one legend, she is actually Eros' daughter, and then in another legend, Eros is actually her son, and she gave birth to him from a giant golden egg that she laid in the underworld. I don't know. But Zeus actually fears her because she's given birth to so many primal forces. But in my experience with these two deities, I found that Eros is a very wise person, or being. He's so wise, but he frustrates me to no end. He really does. And he knows he does, and I know that it's for good, and I know that it's for a purpose, but his lessons are rough. His lessons are rough. He also teaches me compassion. I find that since I've started worshiping him, I've been thinking a crapload more about compassion and love towards my friends and family. And whenever I feel myself being angry or upset with somebody, I try to focus on Eros and kind of try to calm my emotions and hush my mind and focus on compassion. So, to me, he's also the god of compassion, and I think that kind of goes for the same with most people. And I can't tell you the whole story of Eros and Psyche, but if you haven't read that, you really should look it up, because it's one of those kind of, it's not really a creation myth, but it kind of explains a few things that are going on in the world. You know how like the Indians have creation myths of why the moon goes down and the sun comes up type thing. Like, it kind of does that to me, and it's just a fantastic myth that involves Eros. Yeah, and with Nyx, it seems like she is really trying to get me to focus on, I guess, acceptance is a lack of a better word. Anytime I'm like upset about something, I know this sounds cheesy, and this is the only way I can think of to put it, but that Beatles song, Let It Be, that pops into my head so much whenever like she's around or trying to tell me something. But so those are, in my experience, of how those two deities have worked for me, and how my relationship with them is. I work with many other spirits and energies. I have a spirit guide named Minx, like the cat, and he actually takes the shape of a cat every now and then. And of course, I have my spider, Purgatory. She's helped me with a few things already, and she's amazing to work with. Her spirit feels like whenever she works with me in rituals, she takes on this weird feminine human shape. I don't know if it's just because that's how my mind chooses to portray her, so that I can personify her energy better, so that it makes more sense to, I don't know, but that's what it seems like, and it's interesting. Other than that, I've tested out different things with like the Fae and ghosts and spirits and angels and demons. Dibble-dabbled in all of that, but I mean, I don't really stick to any anything else really too much except for my spirit guides and my god and goddess and my familiar. And of course, passed on loved ones visit me every now and then, but I never really do ritual work with them. So, but that is my spiritual family. So I hope that wasn't terribly boring. Thanks for watching.